What's going on, everybody? Let's get a quick sound check before we let her rip. Get me a fresh beer. Thank you. We'll be full-blown, full-on live here in just a moment. Got some cool stuff to talk about tonight. Some provocative things, some new parts. I got beat the Autocross, which was interesting. Sheckenberg didn't help me out last Friday night. How's that, Alex? So what's going on, everybody? I am coming to you live from Power by the Hour Performance. We are here in West Palm Beach, located right at the end of the airstrip of Palm Beach International Airport. If you are new to the show, first time joining us, thank you for joining us. We do this every Wednesday night as time allows and life allows. 7 o'clock, discussing a lot of Coyote Swap products, tech, general stuff, what's in the news as far as it relates to our Coyote Swaps and the products we offer. We are Coyote Swap Specialists. My name is Frank Perdomo, and we have a website, pbhperformance.com. You can join that or visit that and look at all of our products, our complete catalog. We do have a live chat if you are new. Plenty of really, really cool people in there, other YouTube personalities and tech gurus, even tuners. So you can ask a lot of questions through there and so forth and do our super chat, which is the paid chat, which we have to cover. But yes, my name is Frank Perdomo. This is PBH Live Episode 42. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, awesome. If you're a regular and you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for your support. Everything that you donate through the super chat or by buying hats and so forth is greatly, greatly appreciated. It helps us grow the channel and allow us to do more events, which we will be talking about that tonight because we are going to an event very, very soon with Alex. So should be a lot of fun. Tonight's topic is We Scared the Shit Out of You is Tunepocolypse. It kind of pertains to what I see going on as far as all the information I'm taking in, what's going on in our industry, how it potentially could affect our hobby and others alike. I think the Coyote Swap market is a little bit unique in this sense because might be a little gray area there. We're a little exempt, but if it affects one, it affects all. So we may still feel the effects of what's going on in the general performance industry. Again, if you have any questions, please post them up in the chat room. If you definitely have to get them answered right then and there, or you want to have your comment heard live on the show, the super chat's going to be your best option because I can't keep up with what's going on in that general chat. It just moves too quick for me to roll through it, and unfortunately, I just miss stuff. So, if you don't want to go into the super chat, that's not an option for you, put a comment in the video. Email us, info@pbhperformance.com. You can email me directly, frank@pbhperformance.com. You can call us. We are a business. We do this Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We have 4 people answer the phones, Frank Pezzo, Christian Papa, Travis Dean, and myself. And we'll be more than happy to help you with any tech questions you have, something maybe we touched on the show that you want me to explain, or maybe give you a link to a product, something along those lines. Be more than happy to do. So thank you everybody for being here. It is humbling and is a lot of fun. I can't believe we're already on episode 42. We started this right when COVID started to keep engaged with our customer base, and look at what it's flourished into. So anyway, yes, tonight Tunepocolypse is as I've coined it, very similar to the YouTube adpocalypse that happened a couple of years ago when they changed all the algorithms and likes and stuff like that didn't matter, and they just keep moving the goalpost on you to help you grow your channel. Now we have some stuff going on with the government, the EPA, which I'll be honest with you, I watched a lot of videos today from the EPA. They do have a YouTube channel. So if you do want to state your opinion on something that they're talking about on their YouTube channel, including some of the stuff that we're touching on tonight, those videos are up on YouTube. I'm not giving you any links. You can go do your research and find it online. There were also some videos released from John Lund Jr., Alejandro Flores, who is in the live chat right now. He had a good session last night online talking about it as well. I got those links in the description of this video. And today, PRI announced that they are basically suing the EPA in some sort of amicus brief, which I'm not a lawyer, I don't know what the hell that is, that basically outlining a suit that will directly affect what's going on right now. I also know that in that new COVID bill that's being pushed through Congress right now, I think there's like $30 million set aside for EPA investigations. So I would say that there's something going on. There's definitely a rocket in someone's ass to try to get this done, and it may take all of us to try to kind of keep it at bay, or at least carve out a little section of the automotive industry for us and protect it for now and the future. Because if we don't do anything, then our voices don't get heard, then I would imagine that we're probably not going to have a seat at the table when stuff really does go down. So keep that all in mind, but we'll get to some of the cool stuff first. Alejandro Flores, Alex, my good buddy, has already donated $100 to the show. Doesn't have to do that, but thank you, brother. He says it's for more hats. And then JB came right back in and with $10 and asked me to say that Alejandro Flores es un pato. I tell him that all the time. He just doesn't want it. I mean, you got to look in the mirror and see it, buddy. It's there. It's right there. So, oh yeah, we're still polishing off Father Francisco at 9.3, and this is Father Francisco, and this is his cousin, also Father Francisco. So anyway, we'll say hello to some people in the chat room, which when I post the videos on YouTube, I immediately get comments in the chat room saying first. What I will tell you is that when I start the stream, that goes away and it starts a new chat room. So there's been like 3 or 4 first today, and the only one that matters is when I grab it right before the show. It could be 5 minutes before the show, 10 minutes before the show, 20 minutes before the show. So you just got to be there, potentially refreshing the screen, just like buying something on eBay. But anyway, the first post that I see in there tonight is Project T-Top Capri. What's going on, brother? Rob is in the house. How we doing? 2000 MCR as usual. Says he's first to say first, even though he wasn't first. Check that out. Jaime's Garage, almost time, yes. Fermin Sanchez, how we doing, brother? Frank Weaver, good morning, absolutely. Nick Husher. Dan wanted to hop in early, and you guys were already in here. Yeah, there was I put this video up and scheduled today at like 3 o'clock, and there was somebody already in the chat room hitting it up. So, Alejandro Flores, yes, the Front to Back Gang. That is an album from Lionel Richie. And also watched Tropic Thunder last night, and I'm trying to find, does anybody have any cans of Booty Sweat? I'd like to get some for Alex and I for our road trip. Let's see. Who else we got here? New names, new here. Wild Horse 50, what's going on, brother? Jeremiah Camp, just saw him Friday night out of PBIR. What's going on? Parker, how we doing? Robert Whedon, we can hear me good. Thank you very much. Rebel 6, how we doing tonight? Gabe Sanders. I'm sorry. Gabe Sanders, how we doing? I think that's about everyone. We got 56 people in here, rocking and rolling early, man. All right. So, we're going to cover a few things product-wise, project-wise, autocross-wise. Get that out of the way because I think the discussion we're going to have as far as what's going on in our industry, which I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I'm definitely working off the feedback and what you guys have to say. Again, if I don't see your comment in the chat room, leave a comment in the video itself. That way it's heard and that way it's out there and people can search it and find it, whatever's going on with that. So definitely comment. All right, so a couple things. Okay, Jake and his wife Danielle are going to the NMRA event, Spring Break Shootout, in Bradenton this weekend, weather permitting, I would say. And she's got a 96, 98 Cobra that he's been building for a while now. It's got a 4.6 dual overhead cam in it, one of the original motors, rebuilt, whatnot, 470W, and single turbo. Came out really nice. Mike Chamberlain built it. I'll try to snag some photos of it once it's all done and so forth, and let you guys know what's going on with it. But he did do something cool, something we've been kind of alluding to as far as fuel system goes, and that will also affect good ways to maybe add big fuel system without having to change your tank. Now, if you are working with a 99 to 04 car, it's very, very simple. 99 to 04 car is going to have your basket style fuel hat, and then you can get 4 Innovations hats and other different companies and so forth to supply you. But if you have anything pre that, like a Fox body that just has that small opening in the top part of the tank on the passenger side, you're kind of limited. You can put a 465 liter per hour pump on a stock hat or like a Quantum hat, but you're limited to that single pump. And then they tell you, hey, go get a Glenn's Performance tank or something like that, right? Well, Aeromotive does have a stealth hat. We do offer them, and we've always talked about how they work great on factory tanks, but not a whole lot of people use them in the Fox body world. I did see somebody use one in a Fox body tank, but it was in a Factory 5 race car. Factory 5 pickup truck, and it worked well. He used a trifecta. They just mounted it over on the driver's side where the tank top is kind of flat, and it gives you a little bit of a deep sump, and they do provide a basket that acts like a baffle, so you don't have any slosh issues when you do install it in that setting. But what Jake did was a little interesting because he decided to put a twin 340 hat in the stock location on Danielle's tank, which I said she has a 96-98 tank. And this is what it ended up looking like. So he basically poked a hole right where the factory pump would have gone in, opened it up to the size that Aeromotive tells you, and dropped the fuel hat in there. And as you can see, he bent the straight spine at an angle and twisted it so that the fuel pumps would fall in the factory baffle opening. Here's a factory one next to a Aeromotive one. Like I said, he went from a single 465 to a twin 340. He did tell me twin 465s probably aren't going to work through that opening. It'd probably be best to put on the other side of the tank. And he did tell me that twisting that spine was a little bit of a chore. Here you can see the hole as it's been opened and drilled out. So you can see what you're working with once you open up that hole. But once it's installed, you've got a really low profile, easy to wire, easy to plumb fuel hat that has 2 340 liter per hour pumps in it. That's going to be more than enough for most of our Coyote guys that are doing supercharger applications, even turbo applications. Obviously, if you're going to go 4-digit plus, then you're probably going to have to be reaching for twin or triple 465 liter per hour pumps, which Aeromotive does offer in this setting. So it is a pretty cool option. I thought it was interesting to show you guys in case you're looking for a creative option for your own fuel system where you have big fuel pump needs that aren't easily met, and maybe you don't want to change your tank out. So your Fox body guys all the way through 98, this would be an option for you. And additionally, if you need to go bigger than this, you can just make it a plate that'll cap off that area and just make your opening over on the driver's side. There is another sump on that side, and you use the baffling that Aeromotive provides, and you can make a really nice little basket there and make it work for you. So overall, it's not a bad option for you guys if you need big fuel system. Oh, gotta get this one. There we go. Big fuel system involved, and you want to try to save some money by avoiding having to put a Glenn's Performance tank in there, and then buy a 4 Innovations hat, and then have all this expensive stuff going on. This one's, I thought it was a pretty cool economic option to provide big fuel for you. So keep that in mind. We are going to add those to our website so you can get them, buy them as a single unit, and then apply them as needed. So look for that as well. I did go to the Autocross Friday night. We talked about that in the last show. Had really high hopes. I did do well. I was beat. I was beat by a competitor, a good buddy of mine named Matt. He showed up in his 15 GT, and typically I've been quicker than him, usually in the second cushion up to 2 seconds, I would say. But they did change the course, and Matt had a badass night. I got to hand it to him. He drove his ass off. It puts a lot more work on my table because I do believe that my car can outperform his. So I'm looking at his time going, I should be 2 or 3 seconds ahead of him with what's done with my car. He's basically got a stock 15 GT with good tires on it, and he's driving it well. But my car's lighter. It's got about the same power, and it's got a lot of upgrades. So why is my Fox lagging behind? In fact, I just took, 40 pounds out of it with those MAF Racing bumper supports. So went out there Friday night. It was a nice night. Had the Falcon RT660s on there, and the car did well. I jumped out ahead early. I was like a top 2, top 3 time for a long time. Then people started catching on to the course and finding their rhythm as well. I still had one of the top 10 times out there. My buddy John Childs was out there with me. He was giving me some insight because he is an autocross guru. And I think there's going to be improvement next time I go out, which is on the 12th of this month. So quick turnaround. We're going to go right back after it. We're going to try to get into the 54s, 55s on this new course if they keep running it. But this is what it looked like. I'm going to show you a video of my fastest recorded pass first. And then there's 2 other passes. Those were negated because there was a timing issue, what they call an anomaly, and they don't think the times were accurate, even though one of my times during that period was the best time for my class, and it wasn't like cut in half or anything weird like that. It was like 2/10 quicker than the other guy, which would have been accurate, but they disallowed it. So here, take a look. Enjoy. So it's just me here launching. Usually right around 2200 RPM first gear. Second gear is not working for the launch. It just roasts the tires. Here's where they changed the course. Big turnaround. Another big turnaround. And then into the S's. When I get this new rear end done, which is kicking my butt right now, those 410s are going to come in handy. That pass, I almost lost it going through the beans. That was a 56.950. And I believe, here. Sorry, the video was a little jacked up there. This time was disallowed, and I believe it was as quick or quicker. I believe this was a 56.905. Most of the course is the same, but that first section with the 2 turnarounds, that's the trick. And they added some cones in the fastest part of the track, which doesn't let you get all wide open there, but we found a way. Here's the last year. I'm complaining that my time's not on the board, and and there's an issue, just so they know, and they acknowledged it, but it showed a 36 on the board, even though it showed a 56 in the recordings, but they didn't allow me to keep it, so I came in second. Brake sparking a little bit there. Always add some excitement. And my time was not even on the board this time, so it sucked. So anyway, if you don't give a shit about Autocross, that's fine. I'm just going to tell you what's going on there. But that is what I do with my Coyote Swap 91 Coupe, if you don't know about that, which we're building a Pro Touring full floater rear end, which we're filming a full series on how to do that. And we will be upgrading. As you can tell, Willwood's a big part of the build. We got new brakes from Willwood in the house. They are a partial sponsor of the car, and they've always been on the car since I road raced it. So we'll be talking about how these get installed on that full floater rear end. They also sent me replacement front calipers, little 6-piston jobs, to replace the ones I already have because the anodizing just got destroyed on it. So, oh, I thank him for that. Just how about now? We got sound again? Yeah, I hit the cable. How are we looking now? You guys can hear me now, right, though? Yeah, you can hear me now. I'm watching it right now. It's live. All right, so now you can hear me. Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, because I hit the mic cable with the caliper when I put it down. We'll be back out there. I got Solo Storm, which is a new data logging software that works with my phone and GPS. I'll be able to check between rounds and improve my times immediately, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Tunepocolypse is going on currently. Tunepocolypse is what I've coined this what's going on because our friends at Lund Racing got a visit from the EPA. Everybody knows about that. Their videos talking about it are on in the links of this description. Links are linked in the description of this video, so you can watch that straight from the horse's mouth. We got Alex's show from last night where he talked about it as well. But today, PRI announced they announced a amicus brief lawsuit in Arizona against the EPA, where they basically are telling everyone that they are going to be fighting the interpretation of some of the laws that were passed all the way back in 66 and 75 and 77. Laws that now, with this interpretation of them, basically state that you cannot convert a factory vehicle with a VIN that has factory emissions control on it to an off-road vehicle. Now, the reason I think that's really important is because if you cannot convert a vehicle from on-road to off-road use, therefore any product that is manufactured to help do so is also now in violation of this new interpretation of this law. Now, PRI says it's a gross overreach in their brief, but it, and we agree, obviously, because it hurts what we do and potentially could slow down or either just make it really, really expensive to do what we love to do as our hobby. A hobby that obviously does involve deregulating vehicles the way they're developed and designed, and that includes emission stuff to go full bore racing. But now this interpretation literally says that you cannot take your 90s Mustang, take everything off of it, not register it, take it off the street, trailer it to the track, and race it because at one point it was an emission controlled vehicle. So it's a little harsh. I think the interpretation, like PRI says, is a gross overreach of what they're trying to do. And the EPA does a lot of good things. Obviously, if you watch some of their videos on YouTube, they explain everything they've done to help clean water. The Cuyahoga River, just lighting on fire because it was full of oil. I mean, that isn't, some eyes Cleveland. I don't know what does. Some of the water samples from the bay in Boston. It's disgusting. They show you in the video, and obviously all that stuff's turned around because a lot of stuff is cleaned up, and that's a lot of regulation and red tape and so forth. And in a lot of places it's needed. I would say for our chunk of what we do to the environment, I think we're okay. I don't think we should be the biggest target on the block. Obviously the diesel stuff, that's kind of what really lit the fires when it comes to this stuff, but we'll see, and that really, if you are a guy who has a newer vehicle, let's say in general 75 and newer, that all this stuff pertains to, then yes, we're in the crosshairs. Even my 91 Mustang is. Anything older than that apparently is open game because they're exempt from this as of right now. I don't know, it depends on how motivated they are. I can't imagine they're going to be scooping up, fastbacks from people's garages, giving them $5,000 and buying them back and getting rid of them, but whatever. Right now, what's in the crosshairs is what's current. Stuff that's going on as far as your catalytic converters. Obviously, those are the defeat devices, as we keep hearing about. They're a problem because they are illegal by the letter of the law, and this interpretation takes it a step further. It's starting and it's aiming at our part of the industry now. It's not just the diesel guys, it's not the Volkswagens that were factory manipulated. It's the cars that we like to build. And the research I did today kind of opened my eyes because as I start looking up research and videos and people opinion pieces on this, I'm seeing videos from like 2014, 2015, 16. This has been going on for a while. SEMA's been involved. SEMA obviously owns PRI. PRI is more the racing arm of SEMA, naturally, the performance racing industry. So it definitely has a lot more weight to them because this potentially could create a weird path to racing that has never existed before. We all know what body in whites are. Can you imagine that if you wanted to go drag racing and have a beyond stage 1 level effort vehicle, that you would have to start with a factory tub that was never factory VINed and then get a special policy or register that with the state that you live in, that it's a registered race car, pay a tax for that, and then start building the car from scratch. Like literally, there's no wiring in it, there's no suspension, nothing. It's just a body in white. And that's essentially what this act, if it continues the way it's going, is going to go. And it's going to be even more expensive to do because the guys who do the business are in the industry that basically feed the need for speed. Well, that all right. The clutch manufacturers and the cold air kits and the tuning, the guys who are figuring it out, if they're not getting as many reps as they are now, then there's going to be less support overall for factory-based stuff. So would the future look like a body in white reproduction Fox body with a big block Chevy in it? Because well, there's not a whole lot of support for this or that, or maybe there's some regulation to keep me from putting a newer engine in an older car or a non-VIN car. There's kind of, I don't want to leave anything off the table because you never know. I mean, I worked at the dealership when they did cash for clunkers, and that was a huge waste. I mean, they were basically just destroying good running vehicles that had emissions on them. There's nothing wrong with the cars, and we're just blowing them up, wasting them, creating more waste. Because obviously after we blew them up, they went to the junkyard and all that stuff was disposed of. If you think for 1 second that 100% of that oil and antifreeze didn't go into the ground at some junkyard that bought it for metal and crushed it, you're mistaken. That's terrible. But places like that can buy their way out of situations like that. Industries like that have things set up like carbon credits and stuff like that to be exempt from that scrutiny. And that's stuff that really isn't written yet for what we do, what affects us, what the manufacturers, guys like us in the industry right now, where we don't have any other solution. If they show up at your door and they deem you in what do you call it, in violation, they just throw millions of dollars worth of fines at you, and hopefully your business survives and you have to adjust. We don't do anything in the realm of converting on-road vehicles to off-road vehicles. A lot of our clientele, I mean almost all of it, is older than the threshold. And in the state of Florida, we don't have regular inspections, so our local customers, well, I don't know if they really even know what's going on with this stuff, and that's kind of a problem. If you live in California, I know a lot of the guys in emissions, like heavily emissions controlled states, ask me all the time about doing a coyote swap on a newer vehicle and making it legal to pass their inspection. And there's so many rules involved with that I don't know what to tackle first. Can you coyote swap a vehicle and still keep it emissions legal? I think so, because the factory coyote engines in the factory cars are emissions legal. So if we keep all those things in play, there's no reason why it wouldn't pass. In fact, it'll pass better than that vehicle did when in factory condition, which is one of the gray areas, right? A lot of us put E85 in our cars. If I'd like to see what the studies are on this. So if I take a coyote swap coupe that runs on E85 and has off-road exhaust, because it's an off-road use, what is the environmental impact of that vehicle now that it's on E85 versus me keeping it bone stock with a smog pump and old ass cats and running it on 93 octane and rich as hell because it's going to run like shit, because according to these rules I can't even put a standalone in it. I can't tune it either. So I would think that they're going to want to look into that, but it's such a fringe thing. I don't know if it's ever going to hit paper. It really needs to be defeated right here on PRI's challenge to just cover the bases, so that you know that whatever you do to the vehicle could be considered an off-road modification. And I think it's such a small, honestly, it's got to be a small, like a drop in the bucket to the amount of vehicles that are out there that are really being modded to this level. And what PRI says is, although the EPA inserted this interpretation of the CAA, the Clean Air Act, into the 2015 rulemaking, it quickly withdrew its position following a huge PRI-led public outcry. The EPA, however, continues to maintain that once a vehicle has been certified as a street vehicle, it cannot be converted into a racing vehicle, even if that vehicle is brought to the track in a trailer and never driven on public roads. That's a problem. In 2016, Congress members introduced PRI-sponsored legislation to confirm what had already been understood for the previous 45 years, that the CAA did not apply to vehicles modified for racing use only. They're recognizing the Protection of Motorsports Act, the RPM Act, is bipartisan legislation to clarify that it is legal to make emissions-related changes to a street vehicle for the purpose of converting it into a dedicated race car. It also confirms that it is legal to produce, market, and install racing equipment. PRI continues to work tirelessly to pass this important legislation and to counter basically the EPA overreach. Now, that's all exactly what we need. This is the best timing in the world, like John Jr. mentioned earlier when I saw the link on his page, for this to come out and to hit the press and hit the courts, because they're actively moving and they're moving quick. So they're in their discovery, nest right now. They're just gathering information. So what can happen? I read what EPA is doing, and based off of that, you couldn't even convert your car to electric based off of what they're going off of. They're saying that if the car is factory emissions built, then you can't modify that, even if you make it solar powered. And that's their ruling right now. That's how they're going. That's how they're acting. So, let's see here. Alfredo Diaz put in a super chat, says, hook it up with them Will Woods. I don't mind if they don't have the best paint. I will have a set of SN95 6-piston front Will Woods available. No brackets, because I'm reusing the brackets. I will have my 9-inch axle and converted Fox housing to 99 to 04 with the 99 to 04 31 spline Mosier axles as well, with Willwood brakes in the back available once everything's done. So here we are. What's going to be that middle ground that really puts us in a place where there's confidence in the industry? Because what's happening right now, even with me pandering to Tunepocolypse and scaring everybody with it, it's eroding confidence in what you can do with your car. People are worried. They're hitting brick walls. They're hitting barriers. I can't do what I used to do, but man, I was planning on spending $35,000 on my car. Maybe I should wait to see what this clears up. It slows down. This is what the effect of red tape and regulation does. And Lund Racing's doing a great job. They're being very transparent with people, letting them know what's going on. They have found another solution, and they're still offering their tuning support. But don't come to them for anything off-road. It's just not going to happen. The control packs, though, do have some sort of an exemption because they're designed to go on older vehicles, I guess. I don't know exactly what it is. So the control pack stuff that we're doing does have some gray area exemption, and you may still be able to get tuning support because right from Ford, it comes manipulated and has the rear O2s removed. So by all means, there's an option, and we can do it still. No one has said anything about that, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully the Blue Oval's paid whatever fine they got to pay or gone off the right channels to get that approved. And if there are channels for that, I want to know what they are, because we need to make sure we're introducing our products to that stuff. So definitely something to think about as we move forward. But I don't think this is the end of the aftermarket. I don't think this is the end of anything. With any hurdle like this, we're going to find other options. We're going to find ways to have fun and modify our vehicles. We're going to find other ways to, I don't want to say get around it because it just sounds illegal basically, but ways to still enjoy our hobby, period. And whether that means we're having to register our cars differently and take them off the road, well, that just means trailer sales are going to go up and F-150 sales are going to go up. And you're going to have to find a house that allows you to keep a trailer so you can enjoy your car and so forth. The street car guys, they're going to be relying heavily on Carbo E stuff as that stuff spreads throughout the country, even though it's not a federal thing. Green cats are going to be something you're going to be talking about a lot, making sure you pass any of your inspections in your state, because your tuner is going to be restricted to making sure your vehicle is basically tuned to ensure that it's within the rules. And until those rules change or are clarified, that's just going to be the landscape of the game. And I don't think you're going to be able to hide behind standalones and stuff like that. I don't know. We don't know yet because it's still kind of new. And again, nothing's been defined yet. Obviously, like in racing, like in anything, you can always just do it and ask for forgiveness. But that forgiveness sometimes comes with a big, hefty fine. Alfredo Diaz sends us $20. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. He says, almost forgot. Tell Travis thanks again for all the help with my fuel pump failure. PBH for the win. Okay, great. Yeah, he was telling me about it. I think one of your fuel pumps died. That I think we ended up getting it replaced or figured out what was going on with it. But thank you very much, Alfredo. I'll let him know if he's not listening right now. He should be listening. He should be watching this. Where is he? He has his own podcast that he does, by the way, if you follow him on social media. It's called Nothing in Moderation, where they just talk about just ridiculous shit. So, all right, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Man, we got 83 people in here. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the live chat. I can't cover all of it because, well, you guys are being a little mean. But for me, I mean, if they come up with a decent set of rules for what we need to do that'll allow us to still operate and enjoy what we're doing, I'm all for it. But there's got to be some more dialogue, I believe, between the aftermarket, the performance industry, the tuning industry, and the guys at our level need to be recognized as well. You know, the small businesses of the world. This isn't about, you know, it's very easy to go after the big guys, you know, the big exhaust companies making off-road X pipes. Distributors now, they're afraid, and they're not distributing anything off-road because this is, again, a gray area. It's going to slow down the flow of product. I foresee a lot of guys being able to buy headers, not being able to buy mid-pipes. You're going to have to figure out a way to make that work, and I would suggest that you try to keep it emissions legal based on the rules of your state and federal rules. But if you are building an off-road vehicle, you're not going to be able to buy an off-the-shelf solution potentially. So that's the immediate impact. Your calibrator isn't going to be able to go in there and turn off a light for you. That's a no-no. It's not going to be available to you. If you have an older vehicle, then there's more options for you, but it's still going to impact you. Because now that tuner that you used to rely on, you're going to say, hey, I need a tune for this control pack, and it's an older vehicle, so I want you to do this, this, and this. He may still have to play by the rules because there's no way to certify that your vehicle is a 66 Mustang and that you're okay. There's no way to certify that. It's the same way we can't certify what's off-road and what's not. And the EPA is saying they don't give a shit if it's off-road or not. If it was built with a VIN and with emissions, you can't modify it. Down to the point where if you modify your VCT, your cam position in a Coyote, you're in violation. That's deep, man. That's really deep. So, you know, where does this go from here? I'm hoping that PRI, I think if you're not a member of PRI, if there's a way to donate to the cause, you should consider doing it. You should be writing your representatives in your state, letting them know your position and who you are. You should be going to their websites, their social media, letting them know what you care about and what matters to you in the next election, so that they have to take a position on this stuff and help with PRI and what their effects are, what they're going to be trying to do here. The key to trying to get anything done is going to be in your local elections on the way up. So obviously the timing of this with the new administration could be linked. I think it probably is, but there's no way to know for sure. I don't know. I'm not in those meetings or whatever. So anyway, yeah. Zachary Anderson says, boo, I missed the first 40 minutes. We're playing when it's done. I'll be calling tomorrow to order some more stuff. Thank you very much, brother. Make sure you check out the chat room when you're rewatching the video, because there's plenty going on in there, by the way. Plenty going on. Let's see here. Rob has a question. Frank, what about everyone's tune, i.e. for personal use? So buy a kit, tune it yourself, non-commercial. Well, here's the problem with that is when you buy the software manufacturer, why don't we have N gauges, right? If eMotion had a firmware that allowed you to modify that stuff, they're in violation. So it's a bigger problem for them. So SET cannot sell you something that allows you to modify that stuff. And if you can't modify it through their firmware, unless you hack their stuff, which is probably illegal in multiple ways, and I wouldn't suggest it, then you can't do it. A standalone might be something potentially around that. But again, if they're found out that they have integration kits to defeat any type of emissions, they're in violation. So that means you end up with stuff that's kind of universal, I think, where it's just kind of like, here's a computer, wire it yourself, and here's this broad stroke tuning program, open source, write it yourself. And then maybe. I think what ends up happening is the solutions to try to do what you want to do with these cars, what we've seen people do with these cars and so forth, just gets more and more expensive moving forward because it doesn't get volume and it doesn't get specified. So it actually leans things more to the local guy again, where a local guy may not be doing business with 1 million people a month, maybe just 10, 20, but if he can do it for you, good, I'll drop it off to him or something like that. But even then, he's putting himself in jeopardy if he's coming anywhere close to any defeating or changing. Now, I don't think that a lot of what's going on really has any home in the coyote swap industry specifically, but the effects of it generally, because everything we do is based off what the general public does with their 11 and up Mustangs, trickles down to us. If that stops or slows down, it's going to slow us down too. So it'll be a trickle down effect, a ripple, basically. So we'll see what happens, man. I have faith that we're still going to have the freedom to enjoy ourselves. How expensive it'll be? What is it going to sound like? Are we going to have to trailer our cars everywhere, even to a cruise night? Yeah, I don't know. What's this war? 10 years from now, when we look back at this video and we comment on it, are we going to say, damn, we were right or we were wrong? And this is what actually happened. So it'll be interesting if we're around in 10 years. Just don't get too morbid. But anyways. Yeah, I don't think, like in the state of Florida, someone asked about reopening emissions check and testing. They did that years ago, and they spent a bunch of money. They found zero positive effect or negative effect to the environment from doing it. I mean, why, if they did decide to do it, it'd be interesting if it was just a discovery thing. Hey, listen, we're just going to do emissions checks. There's no violations. There's nothing. We're just going to see what it does and what people are doing with it. Just roll through here, anonymous, just general data. Here's a Mustang, here's this, here's that, blah, 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 and we'll see what we got out there. I'd be really interested to see the number of people that are out there with modified vehicles and how their modifications really, if they really impact the environment the way it's thought. I mean, we don't roll coal in a Coyote. I mean, when you're talking about rolling coal where fuel consumption's multiplied by 30 and diesel's dirty and it looks terrible compared to an efficiently tuned and built E85 boosted car, you're not wasting fuel on that because you're wasting power. So everything we do really does lean towards efficiency. So can we carve ourselves out of the negative side of this witch hunt, basically? I don't know. I don't know if we can really do that, if the numbers are there to support that, because it just seems like they're criminalizing anybody who's involved with it, no matter what you're doing to the car. And that's not right. That's not acceptable. You can't just throw a blanket over every enthusiast in the market and every manufacturer that has anything to do with racing and call them a criminal and charge them. Because any law that's written, any act, to take the words out of some other commentators' mouths, it comes with a gun. Because if it's a law and you're in violation, if you're refusing to abide by it, then the cops, they come knocking. And when the police come knocking because they are going to be arresting you or shutting down your business, that's the gun. So that's where it's not okay. It doesn't sit right with me, and I don't want to see that happen to our industry or any industry, but it's happening. So let's see what we can do. We're putting the word out as social medias, as companies in general. You guys are the enthusiasts that we supply. You need to be involved as well. So whatever we can figure out to help you do that, we'll put it on our social media. And we need to fight for what we like, man. And be fair, too. Hey, listen, we can't have it all. There's got to be a middle ground. Maybe there's a little bit of give, a little bit of take. Who knows? But right now, what the EPA is going after and what PRI is outlining in their lawsuit, it's pretty much on the table right now. If that doesn't get blocked or doesn't get ratified or whatever the hell happens, that's going to be a problem, because it'll definitely hurt the flow of things and information and products moving forward. So get your voices heard, man. Let's see here. We got another paid comment. Let's see here. Marcus Haldorson. Haldorson. I think I butchered your name. I'm sorry if I did. He says, "Hey, Frank, can't thank you enough for your videos. I realize for Gen 1, the speed drive in whole requires Mustang timing cover, but does that also apply for the alternator relocation only as well?" No. If you're doing alternator relocation only, you can use the F-150 timing cover, because the difference between the Mustang and the F-150 really relies on the other side of the timing cover, which is where you would have an idler pulley on the Mustang and not on the F-150 timing cover, right? So when you do the alternator relocation, we're going to put the alternator on the passenger side inner sheath. None of the F-150 Mustang mismatch affects that. You just got to make sure you have a tensioner on that side, so that the mounting pad for the tensioner is machined flat and you can bolt the tensioner to it. It doesn't have the ribs through it, because then you have to make some changes. But on the driver's side, you wouldn't be using the idler pulley. You're just using the tensioner. The tensioner that we give you in the kit has a ribbed pulley on it, and it omits that idler pulley. So it's just going to basically be balancer, water pump, tensioner. That's it. So relocation, alternator relocation only, or alternator with AC only, you can use the F-150 timing cover. You cannot use the F-150. Well, yeah, no. You cannot use the F-150 alternator from the Coyote. Only from the 3.5 EcoBoost, and I would say 15 to 17 year models. Our brackets have provisions for it. But the F-150 alternators are clocked differently. They're clocked in like a mismatch. And the areas, the bulky areas of the alternator are so big that to relieve the timing cover, you're probably going to go through the timing cover to make enough clearance. And that's no good. That's no good. No bueno. No me gusta. But thank you, Marcus, for posting that. I don't know what ISK is or what that dollar amount is, but thank you very much for that donation. I'm sure YouTube will have a way to remove 40 or 70% of that and give it to me. Yeah, oh, Caleb's in the house. He finally popped in. What's up, Caleb? How we doing? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for plugging us in your video on Lee's car with the built 6R80 that had an issue before. Seems to be fixed. I know I talked to Lee today. I guess he's fighting a misfire there. And the 3-valve video that you did, which obviously we got plenty of people asking us for that 3-valve harness. With the latest, what's going on may not happen. So we'll see what happens regulation-wise in that respect. But right now we don't have any of that stuff. The 3-valve stuff on the shelf. It's not manufactured. It's not ready to ship or whatnot. But there are ways to still do it with control packs, potentially in an off-road setting, if that's still legal. I don't know. Maybe. How about a bunch of maybes from PBH tonight? Maybe. Yeah, I know in Canada there's no EPA apparently. So I don't know if the entire performance industry moves to Montreal and then just supplies stuff by shipping it over the border somehow and getting it in our hands, or you have to drive to Canada to pick up your performance parts to to continue to have fun with your car and, you know, tie into your childhood or your adolescence and enjoy your hobby. So I guess you can have fun as long as it's not hurting anybody, right? Orlando asked an interesting question. Whatever happened to the videos of the supercharged new edge you guys were working on for a while back? I actually am getting back to making content for the channel, not just doing a live broadcast here. And that's going to be one of the first videos I work on. The issue I ran into with that video is I took a lot of footage, and it's a bunch of editing, and I tried to do on-site commentary while we were shooting and working on it. And to be honest with you, it looks like shit, and it sounds like shit. And not until recently I realized I can do voiceover with this beautiful microphone I bought, this camera, all this stuff. So I'm going to be redoing those videos, showing you everything that we did and just voicing it over. We got some dyno videos from that, and I'm going to get that car back in there. Who was actually just here, had a ground strap issue, a ground cable, a ground terminal. We used the factory terminal ends and the factory wiring, that new edge, on an Odyssey battery, and on those batteries the positive is bigger than the negative, and it was on there, but over time it oxidized and it gave them a bad ground, and it started acting really weird and not having battery power, and it wasn't charging. So we got it here, we put another positive post on the negative, and now he just picked it up today. He's going to clean it up. It's going to the Anna Maria Bradenton event, the spring break shootout. He'll put it in the car show there. Have a good time. If you guys are going to that event, definitely check it out. If you're in the area, definitely go check it out. I know Paul Svanicki is there with his 7.3 Godzilla-powered Cobra Jet. He'll be running this weekend. Actually, he's probably running tomorrow because today was the load-in day. So if you want to go check that out and see it in action, it's happening. This weekend, spring break shootout, that car is there. And Danielle's car is going to be there. Jake's Mama Lona is going to be there. Denny's car is going to be there. Probably a bunch of others. I won't be there, unfortunately. My wife's out of town. I got to stay home and watch the doggies. She's out of town next weekend, too. But then the following weekend, it's my turn to go out of town because I'm going to Texas 2K with Alex Flores. So that'll be interesting because I'm sure he'll have plenty of video with my mug or voice in it. But I'm going to be visiting with guys like Extensive Metal. They are big customers of ours. They do a lot of builds with Coyotes. You'll probably know who they are from Texas Metal, the show on Motor Trend. So I'm going to be visiting them and doing some interviews with them and talking to them about Coyote swap stuff. We're also going to try to visit Circle D and see how they do all their converters. And we're going to visit with Gumby Saunders as well and get some video and introduce you to Gumby through our prism and show you all the stuff he's got. He's got like 20 Coyote swaps in his shop right now. The guy's gangbusters over there. And if time allows, I'll make it up to LMR. They're about 3 hours away. Now, if there's a lot of guys here in that area are going to be at Texas 2K, maybe we can set up some sort of meet area or whatever. We're going to be at this restaurant to have dinner, drinks, or whatever it is, and just have you guys meet us there. We can just hang out, shake hands, high-five each other, talk some shit. I'll be totally down with that. So if you are, please reach out to me, Frank at pbhperformance.com. Email me, say, hey, man, I'm in Houston, H-Town, whatever it's going to be. Let me know what's going on. That way I can communicate with you. If we do set something up, we'll put it on here, but in case you miss it, I don't want you to miss it if we do it. So that's something I plan to do on all the trips. I think we're looking at going to Pigeon Forge for the F100 show, do something there, visit some vendors in that area as well. And like we've outlined before, we're going to go to Columbus, Ohio for the Good Guys event and run my car there. Clareville, Pennsylvania will be the next step after that in August. And then we'll hit the Bowling Green NMRA final for the Holly Intergalactic Ford Fest. And I think that'll have a good Ford turnout. I think I'll finally be able to hang out with Caleb this year there. And then there's Foxtoberfest, which we might roll up to as well. So, if you have any suggestions for things in Houston, maybe one of those axe throwing places or a bowling alley or somewhere where there's plenty of room, we can chill. And if we want to walk outside, go look at the cars and look over some stuff, we can do that. And maybe even get some video. If you're going to be at Texas 2K, let me know as well. I'll seek you out. I'll be in and out there for the first few days. I think we're going to roll out of here Tuesday night, get there, Tuesday. I get there Wednesday morning, load in. I gotta get a rental car, and then I'll probably be out and about Thursday and Friday during the day doing these visits, and then be there Saturday, and then roll back Sunday. And then hopefully Alex doesn't hate me by then because I snore. Apparently, if I snore too much, he'll just kick me over into somebody else's room, which is fine. Or I'll get my own room. Fuck it. I'll just sleep in the truck or something. It's just like prom night. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a busy year. In between all that is all the autocrosses here at PBIR. I'm probably gonna have to buy another set of tires before I take the Endeavor on the road, and I gotta make sure those tires are seated in well before I leave here. So I'm thinking about buying that stuff now. The Pro Touring rear end, I'm doing a full video series on it. We're in the middle of shooting the teardown, which you would think was easy. No, the pinion gear doesn't want to come out. And you'll see it all in the video. Hopefully we'll get it out of there tomorrow night, and we'll be able to finish that video and release it on our YouTube channel. You guys can tune in on that. So, Chris Newer, the Ford Nationals in Pennsylvania, we've been there before, and unfortunately, man, we set up a booth and we were chilling out, and there was nobody there wanting anything to do with Coyote swaps. There were a bunch of guys with factory cars. They wanted to keep them stock, and they were kind of like, hey, what do you guys do? And we're Coyote swap. They're like, all right, cool, see you later. So I may go to that event again in the future, but it's not really on the top list right now, unfortunately. But I will be getting through Pennsylvania when I go to Clairville, and then I'm hoping to visit with Bill Tomas at CJ, go visit with the guys at Lund Racing, check out their place, introduce you to what they do through our prism here. And we'll set up some sort of meet there, potentially, maybe at one of those places where maybe you can come meet up with us and hang out and have a drink. If you don't drink, have a milkshake, whatever. So, but anyway, guys, Rob says he's trying to get Dream On to Nationals. Okay. Well, yeah, Wildhorse50 says, Frank, just break the pinion bearing and it'll pop right out. That's probably next. We've used sledgehammers, air hammers, propane torches, acetylene torches, and a press. And it's still not out. I've never encountered that, ever on an 8.8. And we used to do gear swaps like it was like 2 a week. Never. If that would have happened to one of the customer cars coming in, I don't know what we would have done. It's not like we would take the rear end out and put it in a press. So yeah, it may be something where we break the case on the bearing and just pull it out, because I'm not reusing that pinion gear. I don't give a shit about that. That's gone. So it's gonna get 410s, my Torsen T2R, and these strange Pro Touring cambered ends, which I cannot find anyone who does any information on doing that modification on 8.8, and I'm going to give it to you. So, all right, guys, I'm going to shut things down for the night. Thank you very much for your support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, even if it's just to say thank you. It really helps our analytics. Like the video, share it, share our channel, what we do. If you don't have it on Facebook to share it or Instagram to share it, just share the link. Let people know what we're doing, especially if you think it's going to help them with their own builds or their own swaps and where they need information. The chat room is awesome. I see what you guys talk about in there. It almost works itself and answers its own questions. The super chat, the support, we can't thank you enough. And because of that support, we're going to be able to come out and thank you in person if we run into you at one of these events and so forth. We're really looking forward to doing it. I'm really excited about doing it because there's nothing like being there in the moment, in the same mud with all of you at these events, doing stuff, just living and breathing it. So COVID took that all away from us last year. We're back. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's be us again. So thank you very much. Look into all this stuff that's going on with the EPA and PRI and keep a finger on it and keep on the pulse. That way, if there's something you can do, you're available to do it. And I think it's going to take all of us, like they say, for all the different causes out there. This one's ours. This one's our baby. We got to protect this one. So, thank you guys. Have a great night. Episode 43 next week. If you have any show ideas or questions or tech that you want me to cover, email me, frank@pbhperformance.com. I'll make sure we try to cover it, try to get information for you so you know exactly what you need to know to finish your project or to help somebody else out. Thank you again, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a great night. You guys are awesome. Be safe. And go check out Alex's dating channel next. And definitely check out Foxcast Media. Who else? Oh, Serbinator. There's a bunch of people involved. So anyway, we'll talk to you later. You guys have a great night.